So let's talk again about your product that you're doing right now, your movie Justice, and also your tribe, your True Tribe Production Boutique.
Yeah, absolutely. This year, 2023, some people call this their Jordan year, right? I call this my year of I did it, because so long I operated in fear. Um, and it's interesting because when I was in the military, I had no problems, getting suited and booted to go chase after Al Qaeda, doing search and seizures while deployed. But yet I come home and to do something creatively and to like share my inner thoughts and feelings with the world, I get extreme anxiety. So I said, this is my year if I did it. I'm launching True Tribe Productions, my boutique production company. And under this company, the first rollout is a friend's film. This is her directorial debut of a short film called Justice. And we're raising funds for this. And it's a short film about a subject that is happening way too often and still to this day, about sexual abuse within the high schools with athletes and young women. And this is a true event that took place with her. And so she's bringing this story to light. And I'm supporting her with my resources and know-how. And we're collaborating to bring this project to light. So that's the very first project that's coming out under my company. And then I'm working on my short film entitled Escape. And it's a brief spotlight into the life of a veteran who returns home from war and the ordeals that we deal with in a single day. Dealing with the VA to our night terrors and dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder and trying to cope with the things that took place while we were overseas fighting for our country. And so, that's the thing that we're working on right now. True Tribe came from the idea that when I first came to Los Angeles, that people were saying that, you need to find your tribe. When you get to LA, find your tribe, but in doing so, it's rather difficult because there are many out here that are opportunists, and that will utilize you for the resources and know-how that you have, and then they would like ditch you, And so I was looking for a group of like-minded individuals who, much like myself, believe in camaraderie, believe in the creative process, the collaborative process, and building art together, and not having a usury spirit, if you will, but supporting one another in these efforts, because this is difficult. This is not a easy thing to do, to be vulnerable and to create. So I came up with the idea of True Tribe, just to be aligned with like-minded individuals with the same purpose in mind, to collaborate and to share and build together. And so that's where we are today.
And I really, when I met you at Sundance, you were the Volunteer of the Year. And so you really are a very kind-hearted, sweet person. And I agree with you that as a creative, the part of being creative is being vulnerable. And it takes, if you're not born in that environment, it's difficult to be vulnerable,
Right.
And I agree with you that you do need a true tribe. And that's why I went to Sundance Film Festival, hoping to find someone like you. And now I realize I come home, like, I found someone like me. And it's just so great that you're out there doing it, and you're really inspiring to me, because we're older and we're both from Chicago area,
Yeah, yeah. That's funny. Yeah, Sundance has always been a part of, my film journey.
Mine too.
When I retired from the military in 2007, I was first battling a terminal illness. I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney failure and then systemic lupus erythematosus.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I was undergoing chemotherapy treatments, blood transfusions, dialysis. I was on a kidney transplant list, doctors had given me like 5 years to live at that particular time, and I thought to myself, well, man, 5 years, huh? Like, what does a person do with 5 years? I mean, well, I didn't immediately jump into film. I was a youth pastor at the time. I had just came back from pastoring the church in Europe for about a year. And then when the doctors was writing me off and everything, I had a struggle with faith and attempted suicide.
Oh.
I had a suicide attempt, but the gun jammed.
God.
And as sure as the gun jammed, and I hear God's voice, as clearly as I'm speaking to you right now, say to me that this sickness is not unto death. Whose report will you believe? And that kind of quickened my faith and changed the trajectory of my life. And with friends and family talking to me, someone had made a suggestion. One of the nurses, said that I've been through so much because I lived so much life before the military and in the military, that they suggested I should like write a film. And I didn't know anything about filmmaking. I loved film at the time. I just didn't know anything about the filmmaking process. So I was like, well, shoot, if I have 5 years to live, so I'm gonna live the hell out of these 5 years. I'm gonna go to film school. I'm gonna go there real quick and I'm gonna make a movie. And I said it's going to be the greatest thing that anyone has ever seen. And then I was going to pass away because I had it all mapped out. I was going to go to school in my last year of life. I was going to make this grandiose gesture of a dramatic feature. And it was going to be like marveled as one of the greatest stories that were ever told in the modern day era. Well, that was 16 years ago, and I'm still that 5 years sentence that doctors had given me has long surpassed. I did 5 years of chemotherapy. I haven't had chemo since 2013. My second year of Sundance, and so I remember in film school working on a project with this guy, and I thought, okay, this is it. I'm done. I'm done with film. And then I went to Sundance, and I was so inspired, by what I saw and what I witnessed at Sundance. And it was like
so nice there, right?
Yeah, I mean, the independent space, I had never seen anything like it until I went to Sundance. So I attribute Sundance for reigniting the spark to continue the filmmaking process. Hence, film is my therapy. Film became extremely therapeutic to me, the writing process, the production process of it. And I started in post. I started as an editor, and then I went into production as a camera operator and a cinematographer. And then I went to ADing, and now I'm writing and directing. So I always tell people my Clark Kent is post-production and post-management, but my Superman is writing and directing, and so Sundance was a huge part, and I gave Sundance by that time 8 years in 2020 when I won the Gail Stevens Award for Volunteer of the Year, because I had taken over the Homeless at Sundance private Facebook group, to align volunteers at Sundance with one another to help find lodging and to give them tips and tricks about how to navigate the festival. My friend, my great friend, Jo Rowe or Joanne, she created the group, and she was spearheading that group. But then she took a brief hiatus and asked me to take over the admin duties. So I did that and did it for a few years, but I don't know, maybe 6 years. I was monitoring that group. Nobody even knew that I was even part of that group. And then when Sundance found out, and with me working as a theater manager at the Redstone Theater, they saw fit to acknowledge me and award me that award. And it was a great thing, and a lot of people kind of really found out who I was at that particular time.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about you that year I met you. And then the next year we went back, I found out that's the volunteer of the year last year. I'm like, Devon? Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was me. That
You're
was
so
little me.
humble.
Yeah, yeah. I've never been a fan of pretentiousness or egos. When you grow up like I grew up, in the inner city, egos get you killed. And then being in the military, it's like I stated earlier, it's about the collaborative, efforts, and the camaraderie, and it's, the quality of friendship and people as opposed to the quantity. And I said I wanted to be an example. I didn't have really, a ton of role models growing up, and so I said, I just want to be that to others what I didn't have, and I just firmly believe that it's enough room at the table for everyone to eat, and I don't want to hoard any knowledge or expertise that I may have that can help the next person, because I've never gotten into filmmaking to be a name. I never got into this to be a photo op or to have somebody run up to me to get a signature or anything like that. I did this purely for the love of the creative process. I love the creative process, every aspect of it. And I just love seeing it happen and come to life. So yeah. And that's who I am. And that's what I love to do. I think it's important that those of us that have experienced trauma, we need the outlet, because if you hold it in, that you're going to implode until you explode, and you have no control over when and where that explosion is going to take place. And I just think we owe it to those who come after us, a voice to let them know that you can make it beyond, that trauma. You're not, you don't look like what you've been through. You don't have to allow the trauma to dictate to you and to tell you how to live your life, but you can dictate to it and to show people that you can overcome, and you can help the next person, because I truly believe that your voice, and what you've been through is specifically designed for someone else out there to hear. Now I can share my traumatic experience, but it may not reach the people that you're destined to reach, so you have to share your voice and share your story in order to bring that next person up. And I just think it's so very important that we all just, with proper therapy and what have you, find the courage to share what it is that we've been through, so that way we can help the next generation come along.
When you have a little confidence, do it. If it doesn't work out, you learn, but you got to do it.
Yeah, and if it doesn't work out, you just try again, because then you'll find out, oh, it wasn't much for me to be afraid of in the first place. Because the only thing you're really afraid of is your own self. We're only afraid of our own self, our own vulnerability. It's like, because I remember when I would write my short films, the first thought that come to my mind was, oh my gosh, they're going to know it's me. They're going to know this is me,
Yeah.
We only tell people what we're willing to, what we don't mind them knowing, like I tell folks what I don't care about hearing anywhere else, because I dictate or control the narrative.
Right.
But then sometimes, you have to go beyond that, like I'm a young man who experienced rape in the military. I was raped by a woman in the military when I was a soldier in the Army. I reported the rape, and the higher ups, or the higher chain of command, said to me that, you weren't raped, you just upset because you can't remember your performance. So they diminished like my experience as a man, because I was raped by a woman, and for a long time I held that story inside, but I'm making a film about that, called Among the Shadows,
Yeah, I totally understand what you're saying. It's just so difficult sometimes to share certain things, but you realize that if you don't share, it eats inside of you too.
It's so very important. Like we've been on this WGA strike
Yeah.
for like the last 52 days because these larger corporations and companies are, you know, getting richer, you know, off the stories that we're telling. You
Yep.
know, we're struggling, you know, to pay rent to feed our families while they're, you know, off yachts or what have you. So I mean, shout out to Hollywood Hoodies, you know, who provided me with this sweater, Power to the Writer. And so I'm out on the front lines every day. You know, we had a rally just 2 days ago. We marched from Pacific Park to the LA Tar Pits, and we had speakers from every union come. Boots Riley came and spoke to the crowd and everything. And you know, so I'm headed as soon as this interview wraps, I'm headed back on the front lines at Disney to the picket lines, you know, to picket for, you know, fair and equal, you know, rights as writers and with the unions, you know, and stand in solidarity with those of us who, you know, tell these stories that uplift, inspire, encourage, you know, and build people up, you know. So it's, I mean, there's so much power in the written word, you know, and I think we should be fairly compensated, you know, for that, you know, so we can have like livable wages and you know, a better livelihood.
I remember when actors went on strike because shows were getting repeated now all the time. And I remember them going on strike saying, hey, if you're going to play my show, I should still be getting paid.
Yeah.
And they got themselves money that way. So when you progress along, you want to share something. That's why you're doing it. You know, otherwise we could be retired sitting there doing nothing if we want, right?
This is true. I mean, I do receive
enjoying your grandkids.
Yeah. I could be on a porch in a rocker drinking lemonade, you know, fussing at the kids as they ride past and
Yeah,
or
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
mom,
So, and I think that not everyone's like that, and I get that. We're all here for our own purpose, what it is we're supposed to do. You know, we're not saying you should do this or that. We're just saying, you know, if you feel something, do it, because it's so important for your whole soul to just do what's came here to do, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I feel like we have enough like life experiences to share our story with the world. It's like I said, I mean, I served in 3 branches of the military.
Yeah, and I was wondering what branch.
18. I did 18 years with a medical retirement. So I did 3 years Navy, 13 in the Army, and then I retired from the Air Force after serving 2 years. Total 18
Oh
years.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah, so I have like many experiences with the Navy. I have several stories that I'm attempting to put out there with the Navy, and then 13 years in the Army. I have so many deployments, duty stations, friends, you know, just shenanigans, in all the branches. It's just not as political as most may think. Sailors, soldiers, and airmen. We partake in some silly shenanigans, and it's extremely comedic. I mean, there's just drama. I mean, when anyone asks me, you know, like I say, I started in this industry in post, you know, so I stated earlier, you know, that my Clark Kent is post-production and post-management, but my Superman is writing and directing. People would ask me, well, what type of writer am I? And I would always say, well, I'm a subject matter expert at drama. So I tend to write drama with a hint of comedy, because sometimes you can't help but just laugh at the foolishness, you know, and it's like, this is so unreal that you just render a chuckle. You just render a chuckle because it's ha funny.
Well,
yeah.
We need more of that stuff about the military, you know, kind of, you just need it in the world, so that military people also can relax a little too. Laugh at themselves a little, you know, because it's hard for military people to laugh at themselves.
Yeah, I mean, we're part of um, conflicts and deployments that we don't necessarily agree with ourselves, but because we're following orders. And this is just, to all those who, hold up the picket signs when military soldiers are coming back. It's like we didn't choose to go where we went. Now we chose to serve our country, and for those that picket against us, those very rights that you're using those signs or carrying those signs with. I mean, we're fighting for those liberties and those freedoms. Freedom isn't free, contrary to popular belief. There are many who came before us who bled and died, for the rights and privileges that we have this day, and many of them didn't do it on a battlefield. They did it in the streets of Alabama, Memphis, Tennessee, Chicago, LA.
Still doing it.
And still doing it this day. Collaboration, not necessarily skill set, really.
Yeah, that's what I'm starting to realize. What the people are meeting is everybody just wants to help each other. We all want to create. So you help me create, then I'll help you create. So it's really good.
That's
it's
a great
good community.
That's a great note to end on. So,
thanks, Ron.
Yes. Until next time, we can do this again. Just let me know. I'm struggling, so I'm unemployed. So
enjoy your strike today.
Will do.
Keep posting. I love them. I get the news from you before the news. Especially the Boots Riley thing when he was talking yesterday. I was like, he's got Boots